Hey, it's me again. Again, I want to encourage you guys to visit the Presence Network website. Um, I'm Mark, as you know, and I just wanted to open up this morning. It's morning as I'm videoing. I realize you may not be viewing this in the morning, so there you go. Um, anyway, I wanted to just, like I always do, but today in particular, uh, be real and share. And that's 90% of what these videos are. I'm just sharing my heart. I'm just trying to encourage those who out there who are seeking. Um, uh, I'm trying to help you find something. Um, want to be real. I want to do a good job on these videos, but I just want to be real, and it's not going to be perfect. And I'm not going to continue to apologize for my video quality or my ugly mug that I keep putting out here, but I do want to be real. And I know last time, my last video, I left off with uh, talking about how we all just kind of have this knowing. And I mentioned the origin story of Adam and Eve as it's accounted in the Bible. And I wanted to throw something out there. Today, I really want to just throw some thoughts at you because that is where all of our issues come from, whether it be happiness or problems in our life, stresses, anxieties. It all starts here in this noggin. It all starts with how we think about things and our thought processes. Um, I wanted to say this. I realize there are different backgrounds out there. I realize some of you were brought up in the church. I realize some of us are not church people. I realize that we all come from different backgrounds and belief systems. I know there are atheists out there. I know there are those who have different faiths other than Christianity. I know there are those out there who ascribe to more of a new agey type of an understanding of life and existence. But I want to encourage you that I choose to understand and believe there's a creator. There's just no way that all of this has happened and our existence happened by mistake. And there has to be some intelligent design. Those are my thoughts. You may not agree with them. But what I would like to engage everyone in is being open minded and thoughtful. We all have to exist and we all have to find our way of existing on this planet. And we're all going to pass away, and that's just inevitable. But the time between birth and death is a journey, and it's a difficult one. I mean, not one single person on planet Earth, no matter what religion you are, no matter what color you are, you're going to have struggles. And it's funny, we all tend to think we're the only ones going through stuff, and we're not. Every time I talk to someone or counsel someone, I look at them with great compassion, but I also see something. And what I see when I counsel people and when I talk to people, um, and it's sometimes just conversations I get into with people on the street or at my work, it's they absorb everything in such a way that they tend to believe they're the only ones. They're the only ones that's gone through this. And I think sometimes it helps to know you're not the only one. You are not the only one that has experienced what you are experiencing. And if someone else overcame it, you can too. Which leads me to something that I wanted to talk about, and that's just universal truth. There are universal truths, no matter what you believe or what you want to believe, that exist and they're not going to change. Universal truth. We're all born of a woman. That's just how it works. And whether you like it or not, it's a truth that cannot be denied. We are all going to the gravesite one day. We are all going to die. And whether you like that or not, whether you want to believe that or not, doesn't change. It is a universal truth that cannot be changed. And what I have always sought after in my life is universal truth. I want the truth to be known, not what I believe is true, but what is true. And that's difficult. Man, it's hard. I can't tell you how many people I've sat down with in counseling sessions and they look at me and they go, yeah, I can't believe that. And man, a problem that we have in our society, especially with the internet world and the ability to just get opinions and advice from half a dozen resources, if not more, is that we have a lot of different truth available to us. But finding out what is actually true is a whole different journey. And that requires you pulling something from within. Finding a way to understand there's something greater than yourself at work here and at play. We as a society can get brainwashed by what we hear and what we see. And the one thing that I want you to take away from this video today is this. Listen to me, listen to others, take advice and opinions, but you have to be careful who you take advice and your opinions from. You have to understand that at the end of the day, it's your responsibility to seek the truth. It's your responsibility to find that truth. No one else's. I could be wrong. I could say 10 things correct and 1 or 2 things wrong. And if you receive all of it as a whole and I'm wrong about a couple of things, well, I'm sorry, I don't want you to listen to me. I can be wrong. Anyone you listen to can be wrong. Your pastor, the radio guy, somebody that you watch on the internet. Be open-minded and at the same time weigh and measure everything, because it's easy to be deceived and misled on this planet, and I don't want that. Receive the heart of the person you're listening to, because man, motive is everything. Someone could go into a setting, let's just take church for example. A pastor can get up and speak, and his motive can change what you receive. In other words, let's say they get up and they have a genuine need in the church. They say the words, "We need a donation," and there's a genuine need here. My heart is to really help this person out in the congregation, and I want to take up an offering. If they do that and say those words and their motive is pure, by all means give. But if they stand up there, and now granted, you may or may not know this, but if the motive is to take that money and use it for ill-gotten gain, and they're speaking to you the exact same words, and you choose to give based on those words without knowing the motive, well, the money gets used the wrong way and in the wrong place, and your giving is for naught. I understand that's just an example, but what I'm speaking to is the motive. Motive matters. And, like I said, I'd mentioned that in the last video that we all just have this knowing in us, this sensing. Man, I believe that to be the God part of a human being. And again, whether or not you believe there's a God or not, you have to understand that if you can tap into an inner thing within you, man, you'll start to find out you make different choices and different decisions. Take a pause and just reflect for a moment on what is inside of you. What are your insides telling you? Because more times than not, that's going to be correct. More times than not, there's something that we are all born with. I spoke about universal truth. We all have, and as I'm saying this, I know whoever's watching is going, yep, I've had that, where it's like an intuition. You know something's off here. Listen to that voice. It's important. I could quote a bunch of readings and writings to you and scriptures, and I could quote philosophers who have written great things. At the end of the day, we all have an internal mechanism that we need to be listening to. And I'm encouraging you today to not discard that. Don't discount that little voice that's inside of you, because it's important. It's an important part of where we want to take you in the Presence Network, where we want you to have peace and joy and true happiness, because most of the things that we seek happiness in are so temporary. I want you to find a joy and a peace that that passes all understanding. I Along the lines of those universal truths, seeking them out and finding them may not be as difficult as you think. Seeking is where the secret sauce is. You have to seek. You cannot just sit around and do nothing. You have to be someone who's in pursuit of and who seeks it. And I'm telling you, when you find it, you'll know. I know that sounds a little vague, and I know that you may leave this video wanting more. And quite frankly, that's a good thing, because by wanting more, you're going to discover layer upon layer upon layer of truth that brings peace. It's almost unexplainable. I know I'd spoke about my childhood. And in my childhood, I just started to see, and I'm begging you, just start observing things. Start paying attention to your surroundings. Start paying attention to what's being said. If you have kids, man, this is one of the best life lessons I can offer as an example, and that's watching your children grow. So many times, I chose not to do this, and I'm thankful that I did, and it's why I can speak to it. So many times when we're raising our kids, we don't remember our own childhood. We wonder why our kids did this. My son will come to me and go, well, my son just did this, my grandson, and I don't understand why he did that. And I look him in the eye and I go, do you not realize you did the exact same thing? And we don't realize, wait a minute, I'm experiencing a repeat of the same old movie over and over again, but we never seem to find a way to push the pause button and fix things and correct things so that moving forward, they don't turn out the same way they did for my father and my father's father. We don't get it. And all I'm begging you to do today for your own peace of mind is hit the pause button. Do some reflecting. It is really important to take those quiet moments out of your day and say, I just want to reflect on the day. I want to reflect on the choices that I've made. Pay attention, again, to your surroundings, to the people that are in your lives. Now, fair warning, once you start to discover truth, it's really easy to fall into what I would call a spirit of criticism. I've been guilty of it, where you start to see the wrong in the world. You start to see the things that are off, and you start criticizing. So I want to encourage you, find grace. Understand that you have made some of the same mistakes that those people that you are now recognizing have made. And they're only human, so to speak. I mean, how many times have we heard that term? I'm only human. I think there's two sides to that. One, that should not be an excuse to continue to be the wrong kind of person. At the same time, you have to be able to see those things with the eyes of grace, with the eyes of understanding. Look, I've made mistakes. We've all made mistakes. But at the end of the day, you've got to offer yourself and others, more importantly, because it's usually easy to forgive ourselves quicker than it is others. I get it. There's exceptions to the rule. But for the most part, we will look at others with a very critical eye instead of looking at ourselves. As you begin to focus on you and correcting your issues, you're going to find peace. You're going to find that, and again, it's almost unexplainable. It's supernatural that when you start to let go of things, other people are going to, the people that irritate you, that bug you, and by the way, 90% of your problems, I can promise you this, is the things that the world, the outside forces, the people in your lives, they put demands on you that drain you, that stress you out. And the truth is, nothing in your world has changed. It's the pressure everyone else is putting on you. So learn to let that melt off. And that starts with grace and forgiveness and understanding. Hey, so-and-so really ticked me off today. But being able to forgive them and understand where they may be coming from. Again, you're not excusing the behavior. You're not giving them a free pass. I never wanted to give myself or allow anyone else to give me a free pass. I want to be accountable. But at the same time, if you allow that bitterness and if you allow that irritation to fester, you will be more in bondage than you can ever imagine. Conversely, if you forgive, if you can offer some grace and understanding, you'll start to see your bondages, your chains melt off. I can't explain how it works, but give it a try. I promise you, you'll start to see, man, I can let go. I want to end with this. I was dealing with a very dear friend of mine's wife. And I'm tearing up a little because she still doesn't get it. I love her dearly, but she was really going through some stuff. Mentally, she could not stop worrying about her kids, her husband. Every time somebody walked out the door, they're going to die. And it was extreme, don't get me wrong. But I gave her one example, and I think it's a good, simple, valid example. Maybe somebody watching this can grab onto this very simple concept. By the way, 99% of what I've read in the Bible or any of the other writings I've read, they are concepts to be received. They're not so much legalistic laws, legalistic, hey, do this, don't do that. They're concepts. And I want to offer you a concept. I told this young lady that I cared about like a daughter, if you can grab something, because we were on the phone, grab a pencil. So she did. And I said, grab that pencil and squeeze it tight. So she did. And I said, now I want you to open your hand and let it go. And she did that. And I said, did you open your hand and let it go? And she said, yeah. I said, what happened to the pencil? She said, it fell to the ground. I said, are you still holding the pencil? She said, no. I said, think on that for a while. We refuse up here to let go of things. And it is a choice. You can argue with me all day long. I can't do that. I can't do that. And I'm telling you, you can. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying there isn't a process. But freedom comes when you stop arguing with those internal mechanisms, those knowings that you have inside of you. Stop arguing with them and just do, just be, just exist, and quit worrying and contemplating and micromanaging every little thought. Let go. Take whatever is in your hand and just simply open your hand and let it go. Well, it's not that simple. You don't understand. Promise you, I do understand. I promise you, there are others out there who understand. The secret truth is this. If you can look at your situation and feel like it's hopeless, but if you can and find someone who's been in a similar situation and come out on the other side, don't remember what I said. There are universal truths. If someone else can do it, you can. They have hands and fingers just like you do. If they're able to take a pencil and hold it tight, but then choose to open their hands and let the pencil fall to the ground, you can too. Be encouraged by that. Seek and you'll find. I promise there is a way for you to be free. I promise there's a way for you to find an inner peace and an inner joy. And there are universal truths. So I'm going to end with that. Be encouraged today. I want to talk about so much more. There's so much that I want to share. And there are more things available to you than you know. And they're all right inside of you already. You don't need to find them anywhere else. They're in you. So be blessed. Have a good day. Until next time.